Hello and welcome to the weekly live stream where we get to yell at the screen, Paul, use an IDE. So then you guys get to watch me write bugs as we further along dungeon generation tonight. Only to this time I think I'm going to try to start integrating it with the world because it occurred to me the next steps will be um, adding mobs and loot and stuff, and I really don't want to add all that to the test harness, although I might, but in the game it'd be so much easier. So anyway, here are my patrons, the lovely, awesome people who help me keep my servers running. If you would like to become a patron, there's the link. Any amount gets you access to private Discord and maybe some future private videos and stuff. And if you're a developer, it gets you access to the source code for the open source parts of Mythruna. So without further ado, let's get started. If you guys happen to join the chat, go ahead and say hi. Alright, I like this little pop-out dashboard thing, so I think I'm going to use that. Tells me my connection is excellent. Alright, good to know. Alright, let's minimize that. Okay, so this is where we kind of left off before. That me. Hi. Okay, so this is kind of where we left off before, which was, generating random dungeons. I've since been moving it over to be more API-like, but it's kind of fun if you change the, you can get, different dungeon layouts and stuff. And this is rendering the old style, which is, each room is just rendered solid blocks. Hey, Ramkram. If I render the new style, then you can see the tunnels and the rooms and stuff. So this is kind of getting ready to actually insert dungeons into the world, at least to get started. And so what I did was I moved all of the, I made like a dungeon generator class and moved it all over to this portable dungeon API.groovy, which means that the script that Blockhead is running is just doing some very basic stuff. It sets up it creates the generator. Creates the dungeon generator with the seed that we want to use, and then down here, it seeds it with some random rooms, because that's the part that will still be external, because especially when we're generating dungeons in the world, we'll want to add some initial feature rooms in specific locations so that we know where our entrance is and potentially some exits and things. And then it does generator place rooms, generator fill rooms, generator build graph. Eventually I'll roll all that into one kind of method, and then it does random cross connect, plot the tunnels, and then down here somewhere it actually just inserts it into the world. Yeah, here it is. This is all this extra stuff is stuff that would be external, that is plotting the, basically it's finding a random starting room and then plotting the farthest room from there. And the reason this is the farthest room and not this one, I believe, is because it's using, let's render old style for a second, and you'll see, oh no, so maybe this room is just closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's either 6 or 7. So yeah, that one's slightly farther away because there's no cross connects here. So that's kind of cool. But this is kind of just the initial thing, because eventually there will be a specific starting room that's the entrance to the dungeon, and then I'll use sort of graph pathfinding to decide that certain rooms near the start will be one style, and then we'll find different places to have locked doors and treasure rooms and things, and then decide sort of where the style changes in different areas. But that'll be based on once the dungeon is generated, then we'll go back and we'll style it and fill it with stuff. But right now I just wanted to make sure that I could render in a world, and so we've got it set up. The reason we see gaps on the corners is because I've got these walls set up on these junctions to only render where there isn't blocks, or only render where there already is blocks. Render walls only where there already is blocks. And so in this case, when there's solid ground here, it should render that. In fact, we can check, because we can go over here and do world gen. While that's generating, I'll come up here and I'll change this to false. And cutaway to false. Yeah, so we're rendering cutaway view. Hey Jeremy, how's you? So we're rendering cutaway view right now, which is why it was we could see inside the rooms. Otherwise, it'd render the ceilings. All right, so here's just a section of the world. I picked one that's got a big hill on it because later, if we have time, or whether we have time or not, next thing I need to do is work on multi-level dungeons, and that sets us up for that. So actually, I'm not sure where this is going to generate. Let's see. It still has the code in there to pop up. It's supposed to pop up a tunnel. Yeah, there's one tunnel. There's the other tunnel. So we should be able to come run over here. It makes sure to generate like a tunnel up to the ground. So if we jump down in here, yeah, so it generated it in the space. I take out the, yeah, I took out the plotting flames in the middle of the rooms, because that's something that would be done separate. So we'll yep, let's close that so we get some, so we can place our own little flames around, and this would be easier in the world, right? Because anyway, so you get the idea. It does generate. In fact, this lets us walk through the walls, so we could find out where the ending room is. Here we're totally in the dark. Anyway, you get the idea. So what I want to do next is close this tool and start messing with Mythruna proper. What we want to do, if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and close this and go back over here to Mythruna and run the game. So we get to hear the little theme song. So our turnaround time for testing things will be a lot longer, but ultimately it'll be kind of cooler. Where am I? I don't remember the last thing I was testing in the world, so I'm not sure where I am located in this particular test world. But I'm just going to talk about what I want to do. Okay, where do we go? Okay, so I was playing with the road generation, and I found this place where there was all these convergences, where the paths converge. Everything's a little slow. Alright, so what we're going to do... Oh, I recognize that it's really dark for you guys, so let me... Oops, wrong. I always forget that YouTube makes things so dark. Somebody before asked if the time thing was available in game, and I think I misunderstood their question. Just in case, in the regular game, if you're playing single player right now, there's that debug mode where you can hit T and it'll pop up this little dialogue, and you can mess with the times and see different moon phases and things, or pause time if you just want to play with it a certain time of day. All right, so let's go. Let's find a place where we could generate a fairly decent dungeon. So like, I want to have like a hillside to test with, and so this is a pretty cool area. What I want to do is take and add another one of these little test tools that I can use to click on the ground, and then it will generate a dungeon there. And that'll be something that I'll probably leave in the next release, assuming I don't get... Well, I actually do want to leave it in the next release. But set it up so that it'll only generate one dungeon at a time, and that you actually have to go solve the dungeon and find the end before you can generate another one. That way less likely to kill the world. But anyway, so I want to set that up so if we click somewhere, it'll generate the starter room and a dungeon from there. And so initially we're going to write the boilerplate for that and show how that's done again. So I'll have to open up a bunch of files and so on. But so this is the game, and let's go ahead and exit. I always play... this particular computer that I use does not have working speakers, or I've got them turned off or something, and so I never hear the ambient sounds anymore until I'm doing this and I'm wearing the headphones. And I always forget how much more alive the world feels with those. By the way, if you're just joining us and don't know anything about this, the link up here in this upper left corner of the screen is the super secret, quote unquote, link to go and download the last version of the game, which was released in January, which has all the far terrain and some other things like that. But all right, so let's get started on making a simple tool. I have to find... Let's see, is this Mythruna main? Yep. Okay, so we're in the right vicinity. I think that I have a bunch of other stuff open, so we'll just go like this. Alright, so it's not in the client that I need, it's in the server. So we'll go here. Yeah, man, it's been so long since I've worked in the game, I don't have any of these files open. I already have it open? Oh, yeah, okay, so... I keep these in an order. And here is actually where I want to be. Source, main, resources, Mythruna. Yep, here we go. So somewhere in here, I set up standard objects, standard tools. Okay. Oh, I still haven't moved building the standard inventory into the scripts, so it's still hard-coded. But what we'll do is we'll steal some of this. Where's my test wand? Okay, so we'll build another test wand. I cheat. I admit it. I'm a cut and paste coder from way back. Okay, so we'll call this the dungeon wand. Super type base hider. Actually, we'll leave the same. We'll leave the same icon and stuff, or the model. Generates test dungeons. So we'll get rid of all this. We don't need it. Main block click. Right now it's just getting information about the world. We don't care about that. Place is probably what we really want, and gosh, in my day job, I've been using IntelliJ instead of my editor here, so I have been using an ID in my day job because I'm in a new code base and I don't know anything, and it makes it a lot easier to explore around. And there are some cases where I get really used to being able to just hit dot and get a list of whatchamacallits. So I think I could just do, especially when so should be a can remove block should get me what I need, especially when I'm coming back to a code base after a long period of time. It's kind of nice to just get little reminders, because normally I have all this stuff in my head to change blocks here. So it really shouldn't be can remove block. I should check for can add and can remove. But other than that, we'll just kill all this. And there is no context action because we don't allow, we'll leave. So we'll leave the context actions. That's for when we right click on an object. We won't allow deleting objects from here. We don't need that. So look is all we'll support here. And then because I'm behind on some things, we'll still have to go over here and make sure that where we set up the initial game items, trust me, here we go. Oh, okay, so I couldn't remember when I was doing this how so this should be Dungeon Wand, that's the name of the type, and then we can call it whatever we want here. Dungeon Wand. So this is using the object typing stuff, which is actually part of the open source MOS libraries that allow you to create these dynamic types. Now, of course, they don't have my Mythruna specific scripts and things, but metal wand blocks, yeah, that's fine. Let me see if I have real quick any better source, main resources, models. What are we looking at? We got metal wand block, so something wand. Oh, is it items? Yeah. So wand 1. Do I use wand 1 for anything? Yeah, that's the build one. That's the crazy looking. Alright, well, so we'll just use the same wand as we use for everything else. Our hand's already set up for it. Alright, so real quick, let's just make sure that worked before we do anything else. Actually, I can do one more thing. So if we go to the build wand, what we're going to do is, oh, that one's called start digging. Yeah, so I also did can remove block here. So let's, yeah. So we'll make sure that we can place something. In fact, we'll do a little pit. 0, 10i++. So didn't need to do that. I was going to be good anyway. Okay, so loc dot subtract 0, I, 0 to vec3d. Yes, because I still haven't. I want to go and add enhance that API a little bit to take multiple types, but anyway, so dig a little 10 block pit, and I'll also get a gauge on how long that takes, because I have a feeling that unless I make this an iterative thing, wow, why is it taking so long to compile? It's unusual. Anyway, so I have a feeling if I try to edit all the blocks at once as one giant transaction, that it's going to take a lot of time. This game's not really set up that way. Normally when buildings and things are generated, it detects that that particular section of the world intersects the building and builds that as part of the chunk. Whereas here, for the temporary dungeon generation code where we can click wherever we want, it's going to be modifying the world right as we click. Okay. One thing I can't do is set the time in the config file. So for a while we'll just, anyway, so there's a lot of, why is it still applying morphology? I think I have some logging left on. Okay, so if I go to my inventory, I should have, oh, I put it in the same place. Yeah, that's a problem. So that's the dungeon wand. We ought to be able to say equip. Now it'll be equipped every time we come in. And so if I left click, it should tell me nothing except for logging down there. If I right click, it should dig a tunnel. Ooh, nope. So already we have a bug. Oh. Oh, okay. Easily remedied. The block wand already has converted this to, yeah, so this is already a Vec 3D, and I converted it to Vec 3D, which doesn't make any sense. I do want to make sure that, I think that actually Mythruna is going to do that for me. Or the world is going to do that for me. Alright, one more try. One more try. Uh-oh. YouTube is not receiving enough. Uh-oh. Are you guys still on? Boy. Oh. That's, yeah, you guys, Eustace just warned me about that. Alright, so I hope you guys are still on. Anyway. So let's get into the game again. Stream is running. Okay, cool. Alright, we're jumping in. Make it daylight again. So if I right click, actually let's pick the center of this dirt patch here. If I right click here, it should dig a tunnel. Yeah, look at that. All the way down. Alright, so that's good. And okay, so now we're set up, and I'm going to do a timing test next. Before we start integrating actual dungeon code, I'm just going to dig a big giant room out there, as big as a dungeon level. So we'll do that. We'll dig a tunnel down, and then we'll for int x equals negative 40x is less than 40x plus plus. And we'll do that for z. And we'll do something different for y. For y, we'll just do 0 to, we'll make it a 3 high. Okay, so we'll subtract 10. And so, oh, sorry, no, add minus 10, because that's where we were. We dug our tunnel down. We'll put this at the bottom of the tunnel, and we'll add x, and we'll add, or gone backwards. It really doesn't matter though. Okay, so we're going to dig a big, so we dig a tunnel down 10 meters, and then we dig a big 80 by 80 room. And you know what? Maybe every how do I look up specific block types? There is a way. Maybe not in here. But that's going to be the next thing, because we're going to need to set up. Actually, I can steal that code from the dungeon generator, because it's the same. Yeah, it's the same stuff. So, hi, Lando Calrissian. Happy Friday indeed. It's been a long week. A good week, but a long week. All right, so base objects over here. So we ought to be able to come here and say, oops. So we get a flame block. And so if X%, let's set them every 10. X equals 0 and y, whoops, set 10 equals 0. We'll set that to flame. All right, so let's see how slow this is. I'm going to generate a big room full of fire every 10 meters in any direction. Excuse me. Yeah, sometimes when I see these YouTube is not receiving enough, I wonder what else my family's doing on the network at the moment. I have a pretty fat connection. But I know one time a long time ago, my oldest, it was like a late teenager at this point. I guess the default configuration for Steam will suck things down as absolutely fast as possible. And anytime they were downloading new updates for games and stuff, it would really kill the network. Okay, so let's right click here and it's going to generate a new tunnel, unfortunately. But at the bottom of it, should have a big room, and I'll get to see how long that takes. Oh, no, because it failed. And so it didn't take very long at all. No such property Y for class. Okie dokie. So did I even generate? Ooh. Did I even generate? Nope. Okay. So somewhere I have messed up. Oh, Z. I don't know if you guys are screaming at the word. This is the common error. I think I've raged about this before. So I come from the visualization and simulation world. We deal with GIS, way back, all the way starting with microwave and cellular networks, and always when you think about maps, you think about X, Y on the map, and then Z is elevation. OpenGL views the screen view is, X goes this way, Y goes this way, Z is in and out of the screen. And a lot of times, like scene graphs and game engines and stuff will correct that for you, and they'll just make it Z is up and down and X, Y, and at least in the Viz Sim industry, simulations and modeling and stuff. Okay, so we're down in a hole. Let me turn daylight back. We're almost to sunrise anyway. Okay. So, but that always trips me up. And so JMonkey Engine is one of those that just goes with the OpenGL convention. Even though, like I would argue in the game world, it makes more sense for X and Y to be in this plane and Z to be up and down. But, when you think of latitude and longitude, that's your Y and your X. All right, so let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, it's letting me go, which means that it has already done those changes on the back end. Or it's asynchronous. No, it's making those changes and now I can't move. That's what it is. I can look around. I can move. It's finished on the back end. We're just waiting for our updates here. And there's way too much logging in this path, you see. If I go here, at least what are we seeing? Oh yeah. Each one of those sets is sending me a new cell changed event. Wow. Alright, so that's not going to be good. Unfortunately, so I've never set up for bulk editing on the script side. There is transaction support. And at some point I will set that up so you can start a transaction. Oh, but it did put a flame down there. We are, oh, okay, so no. It's actually, nice. Check it out. So it's just the logging that hasn't caught up. That's pretty cool. I don't know, it's probably dark for you guys, but, that's pretty... This is where our dungeon would go. Alright. That's crazy. Alright, so that worked. I forgot that if we click on the correct side of the block, it's not going to make a new one. It's going to end up in this hole where we already were, so that's good. Alright, so now we can generate dungeons, though I think I'm going to have to turn down some logging in order so that we don't have to wait our whole lives for that. Alright, so let me go back up the hole. It's always nice when things work the first time. I mean, we're only halfway through and I've already got the test thing working. So now things can go all kinds of wrong. Alright, so yeah, look at all that. So let's exit out, and I need to look at, yeah, checking range. Oh my god. Just so much logging. So we might need to go in and turn some of these down. Good lord. Okay, so bear with me a second, guys. Going to need to go in here and view. Right, we've got train state. All those info logs. Okay, we'll steal this. Okay, so that's the only... Oh, that's weird. Then why were we seeing train state, train changed? Oh, that's a debug. Why am I showing debug? It's a filtering problem, not a... So that's a log configuration problem. So probably I could put that other one back that I did. Yeah. No, we're going to be canceling a lot of those, but I do want it to do debug here. Okay. What's another thing we saw? Train state, probably far train state is going to do the same thing. Let's just verify. So this is what's drawing the far train. Yeah, checking range. Oh, I cut and pasted this, so I should just do that. Yeah. These are good without the conditional. Alright, just do debug for that. Okay. Yeah, so I was gonna, you were talking about the fridge. I wish my microwave would update itself, but it doesn't, and so occasionally it locks up or it crashes, and usually in the middle of making a baked potato, which is really, really, really frustrating. But yes, there's the there's a Twitter called Internet of, SHIT. That's constantly poking fun at all of the stuff we got going on. Okay, we want the client side remote world data somewhere in here. Oh god, yes, right here. So this is from back when I was... Actually, there's no data in that. We can just call it trace. But yeah, I wish my microwave would update its firmware to something that's less buggy, because I actually had to... There's a panel above... It's a built-in microwave, and there's a panel above that, and like a wood panel that's built into the wall. where it's actually plugged into an outlet back there, and so I unscrewed it so that I can move it in and out, and because every now and then I can't get it to reboot itself, and so I'll just reach in there and pull the plug and plug it back in. But yeah, I kind of wish it was a dumber microwave. World Client Service, that is also here. So, have any of you guys done anything interesting this week? Anybody working on, I don't know how many of you are developers. Are you playing any cool games lately? I still, I drop into Minecraft Dungeons. It kind of makes me a little mad because it's very much like a game I designed back in 2014. Somewhere I have a write-up where I was like, I talked about this last week. I was trying to find a way to make money off of the Mythruna engine before Mythruna itself was done, because I was having scheduling problems. Oh, you know, that's probably something I wanted to leave. Those are, yeah, these are things I want to leave as log info. Okay. We just, yep. This, that's fine. This is the one I need to change. And so I got the idea of, it's super, like in the middle of a baked potato, the black screen of death. It's got a touch screen on it, and it can connect to the internet and stuff and download recipes, and it's we got it to replace our old microwave, which had similar features, because it was easier for the kids to use, and with my wife being unable to cook and stuff, it was nice that the kids could make their own food and become independent that way. And so it had like touch screen menus and things, which makes it a little easier to use. Okay, point cloud state is another one we're going to have to fix. I do believe. Info. Anyway, Minecraft Dungeon. So I had this idea of taking Mythruna and doing like a third-person view and making it like a Gauntlet, because Gauntlet was one of my favorite games. And I thought, randomly generated dungeons, third-person view. You go and you just hack and slash some mobs and things. I never did it because when I plotted out the schedule, it was just going to take me so long to create all the mobs and stuff. It was not a quick solution to my problems of trying to generate some cash. And so I ultimately didn't do it, but Minecraft Dungeons reminds me a lot of that write-up that I did. Yeah. So I think I've taken care of a lot of them, and worldview state is another one. Worldview state's on the client. Okay, so we got to go back down into Mythruna land. That was all open source code we were just looking at. Worldview state. Oh yes, what were we doing? I got lost for a second. Set view raise is fine. Initialize is fine. All that's good stuff. There we go. Oh, good lord. It's like this editor has some weird quirks, but it's This may be a problem too. This 100% a problem. But I'm used to the quirks. And one of them is that sometimes when you have selection like this and you start typing, it'll replace it, and sometimes it won't, depending on whether it was found through a search or through selection. It's just odd. You were like 5 minutes delayed in the stream? That's weird. Yeah, the nice thing about me leaving this up is you guys can always see how long it takes for me to see and respond. All right, so over here, I need to go back over here and compile the world. Can't believe I spent like 10 minutes cleaning up logging. All right. Man. Sometimes Gradle takes a long time to start up the first time. This Gradle that I run over here is a different version than the Gradle I run with Mythruna, so they use a different set of daemons. I'm going to time it. I didn't. If you're talking about maybe they did, maybe. Oh, pause on the stream. Yeah. So they may have. Okay. You accidentally hit the space bar. That would be fun. What I want to do. Haha. Oakster's doing the scientific method over here. Okay, so if I copy this over to here and say temporarily we'll stick it in here, and I think I can make it available. What is this type? Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, accidentally hit the space bar. 33-second delay, yeah. That's, yeah. So, okay. I just got really quiet, like my audio dropped out. I literally have not changed anything except for I might be mumbling. Oh, nice. Yeah, the one nice thing about it, if you watch this later, is that you'll get to. I don't think I need to do this anymore. You can watch double speed, which is what I do on the times when I go back and annotate the chapter markers. So base API stack Groovy is this what I want. Yeah, I want to see how I. Yeah, see, I think in this I set it up way better. So I should be able to just say, shouldn't need these bindings. I'll do fine, cool. Yeah, you're back. Oh, well, I'm actually on a headset, so I shouldn't be. Actually, so create. I don't actually need these anymore. Over here. I do need create dungeon dinner. I do need create basic style. Yeah, I'm wearing a headset, but I keep the mic kind of away from my. Sometimes I hold my hand over it. I keep the mic kind of away from my face because one time I was on here and you could hear every breath I did, like on the thing. So I've tried to stop doing that, so I keep it down below my chin. But the audio has never been great because I just can't get the gain that I want. And you can kind of see here I've got it cranked way up 15 decibels, and it still barely pulls the yellow when during regular talking. So I recognize that you guys probably have to turn up a little bit when you listen to me. Anyway, back to what we were doing. I think that I'm trying to remember how I include scripts in all this garbage. Oh yeah. So if we take standard objects.json, we ought to be able to add another script here. This is all so hacky because really the Dungeon API, well, for one thing, the Dungeon API wouldn't be in here at all. So it would be better if I set it up as a separate module. But all right, so we should have that. And let me just see if it lets me create at least a base style. So for the moment, we'll comment out this, and style equals create style. I think that's what I call it, or create basic style. Yeah, I didn't show you guys, but I implemented. I was playing around with. We'll take a slight detour. I was playing around with different dungeon styles, because one of the things, the next things is to start, adding different styles. So I can show you guys what that looks like real quick. I don't. These aren't exactly what I'm going to use, but it was kind of fun to play with dungeon styles. Oops. So if we run down here. So I was trying to, so this is kind of the style we're dealing with now. Of course, it's all brightly lit. So that's the style we have now. And this is just the same one with a higher ceiling. And then I was thinking something like this, where you have, sort of mine tunnels, although I think the walls probably be better with dirt, with occasional cobble. I actually don't like this. This is one of the earliest Mythruna textures, and I'm not a fan. It's kind of iconic at this point, and then this is sort of a more advanced thing. And so at some point, wall and ceiling generation is beyond just a block type. It's a mathematical sort of thing. If you're next to a wall, you got to do this, and then otherwise every 3 or 4 blocks you do something different. And so at some point it's going to be more than just a block type, because I think these are cool. And this is the kind of thing where there'd be like crypts and stuff in the walls, where maybe bad things come crawling out. You never know. All right, anyway. So that's what I was doing. It's one of the things I did the other night. I try to find always something to do, and if I'm not motivated to code, it's nice that I have that blockhead tool and can just load it up and work on some things. Like, one night I'll say, well, let me go back to playing with treasure chests, or this time I was able to create some dungeon styles, just play. It at least keeps my mind in it, and then I get antsy to work on the code again. Anyhow, what we want to do here, thanks Romcram, what we want to do here is say, so this is the floor, and let's go with dirt cube for the floor. And actually, is this the direction it goes? Yeah, fire, flame large, yep. So then cobble walls, dirt floor. Oh, you know what? I'm not doing this right at all. Doink. So dirt floor, cobble walls, and let's do a stone ceiling. So this is kind of a primitive dungeon, but this will prove that it's doing something there. Anyway, let's see echo. Style. It's going to look like garbage, but we'll be able to see if it's connected to the API correctly, and that'll give us something to work with. I don't want to run block it. Nope, we gotta do the longer one. Okay, so what we should see here is when I click the thing, we should get some console logging. At least that goes fast. Alright, so if I click style. Cool. The API is hooked up. Alright. So now we can do some cool stuff. What we'll do first is set up our entrance, I think. Trying to think the best way to do that. Ah, I know. So what we'll do if I had time, so I'm trying to get something done in the next 10 minutes. If we run a little long, we might, because we're getting to the exciting point now. So we created a style. What I'm going to do is now create the generator. So let me steal code from over here. Create dungeon generator. So we'll create the generator over here. And what we'll do is we will add an initial starting room that's going to be our entrance. And it won't actually have an entrance because I can't manually add doors to things yet. But what we'll do is we'll make a room. Oh, I do need create room. And I probably should have create tunnel still too, just in case, because that actually would have helped. Maybe I can manually render a tunnel. So this will help us anyway. So what I plan to do is create an initial room that's like super tall, that'll stick up out of the ground, and so we can break through the wall because I can't add a door to it yet. So create room. I think I need just the style. Okay, cool. That's what we got. Create room style. And then room loc equals, we want that to be loc floor subtract 0. Excuse me. Man, burpee. Size equals new vec3i. Let's have it be a 5x5 room. 5x5 room that is 12 meters tall. I think this is that might be map size. Oh, you know what? I can make this 0 based. Before I get ahead of myself, let's just make sure it works. So insert offset world cutaway view. No. So insert new vec3i. No offset. The world. We have access to the world, and false. No cutaway view. Okay, so it should make a big tall room sunk into the ground, unless I've screwed something up. Oh, yeah, so I didn't really need to create the generator just to test the room, but that's okay. Alright, into the Pepsi. Alrighty. Okay. So let's right click somewhere. Boink. Retro. It's doing something. Maybe. Yeah, it did something. Oh. So I've still got a lot of logging to do. It's setting. Where are we? We are. Wow, it is setting things in a way. You see set world cell 1,000, 101,000, 13,000. That is twice where. Okay, I know what's going on. And yes, I do need to. Alright, so it's drawing that room way far away because these locations are based on double space. So I think I talked about this before. Rooms are actually generated on a grid that's 2x2 blocks because it makes it faster to detect other rooms, and there will never be a room smaller than 2x2 blocks or tunnels smaller than 2x2. And so it makes it faster for intersection testing and things. But that means that these locations, when I set this location, it's going to be in map floor space, which is that thing. So if we're 80 by 80, let's set so room loc 0, that's fine. So we'll set this to be spec 3i. So what I'm thinking is for our initial thing, if you imagine we're going to be creating a dungeon, kind of like this, right? I'm thinking of putting the initial starting room right there, right in the middle, so that it'll generate the dungeon away from there. So I will set it up. Well, okay, but right now we're just testing, so let me not get ahead of myself. And here is where we want to say loc.floor. Okay, and actually we want loc.floor, subtract. Oops. Okay, so let me show you what we're doing. So we create a room with this, default dirt style thing. We set its location to 0, 0, 0, which, if you imagine that's down here. And then we set its size, because we're not actually adding it to the generator, so there is no map yet. It's just a room that exists on its own, kind of like when we were testing last week. We set its size to be, I think this is actually going to be 10 by 10 by 12, because I think these are doubled. But we'll find out in 1 second. And then when we actually insert it into the world, we insert it at our current location, minus 10, so down below the grounds, because we're 12 meters high, and we set it in. We're okay. Makes sense? Makes sense. And I can't see my chat, so I don't even know if you guys are saying anything. Okay. I had covered up the chat. Okay, 9:58. Can we get at least one room? If we get one room, maybe I can do a couple more. That part should, I think, be straightforward. Alright. Oh, yeah. We're way down here. And we can hear the birds because there's still sunlight. Alright, so let's make a room right here. Boink. Yeah, check it out. Okay, so that is really big, and it put us right inside the room. Alright, so let me okay, there we go. Oh, and I've got the I've got the blocks all screwed up. This is gonna be kind of a problem because I have no way of undoing these. And also I gotta switch wands in order to drop a hole in there. Okay, so let's switch back so that, it keeps putting it back in the same place. Alright. So I should really fix that. Ooh. Lighting is catching up, I think. So let's, you guys could probably barely see anything. Let's place some flames. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there we go. All right. Boink. All right. Okay, so we made a big giant room. It's got problems. For one thing, it's too big. But actually, it should have. Yeah, it's in the middle of our other big dungeon, so we can come out, pop out here. All right, so that's working. We're still generating way too much logging. Oh, I never did turn off debug logging, so we can do that real quick. If I can think straight for a second. Main. It's nearby here. Okay, so resources log 4j. All right, so yeah, there I am. Set it trace. Okay, so that'll fix that. And then we had some other things we needed to fix in the I'm having trouble thinking straight now. So okay, so let's so yeah, this is supposed to be floor, ceiling, wall. So that's one of the things I got wrong. Yeah, so floor, ceiling, wall. So the cobble was in the wrong place. So we create the dungeon generator, we create our starter room, and now instead of down here, so the other thing we need to do is we need to set the size of our... Where do I do that? I definitely did do that. Oh, wrong. So the dungeon generator down here. Oh, it defaults it. Okay. Cool. So it's 80 by 80 by default, which is really 40 by 40 in this space. So we want to set our room at 20. And then size, we want it to be, like, let's make it smaller. So it'll be like 6 by 6. And so if we do this, but we're doing, that's the wrong place. We want it to be 20 on the z-axis. Again, I got my xy screwed up. So we want it to be in the middle of a 40 by 40 map on that. But in real space, it's 80 by 80. And so we want to make sure to move it back, because wherever we click, that's where we want our entrance to be. So if we click here, we want our, it's going to be adding it, actually. Wait, right? XYZ world. This is negative, this is positive. Yeah, but then I think the world grows down. We should do the opposite of what we did. So anyway, but that's where we're going to render the actual world, the actual generator. So, so right here, if we say generator rooms add room, now we're set to render our whole generator, and the generator renderer is down here. It's down here. Okay. Okay, so we'll do maybe a couple of rooms and a... Oops. So this is the same, actually. So do like that. So technically this should be doing the same thing, but we'll add some more random rooms based on this algorithm. Okay, so we'll add some rooms. How many rooms? Echo. Generating rooms. Oops. Okay, so as we go, we'll, that's fine. Don't need to do that. I can get rid of all this extra crap. Yep. So what this code right here is doing, during initial generation, I don't want rooms that are super odd sized. So, you know, we have this min feature size, which, you know, I need to copy that over as well. So a room can be as small as, remember these are doubled, so a room can be as small as, you know, 4 by 4 blocks, or as big as 16 by 16 blocks. But a room that's 4 by 16 is kind of crazy. So if, for one thing, if both dimensions are, you know, if it's 4 by 4, I don't want that. I want non-square tiny rooms. So if either of those, if both those dimensions are, you know, is 4 by 4, then we randomly pick one to increase, or maybe both. Otherwise, if one of those sizes is 4 and the other one's greater than 8, that's a weird room, and we'll increase the size, so it'll be like 6 by 8 instead. And so we generated all those rooms, and if I put my dungeon, well, we don't connect any tunnels yet, so then the next thing to do is, so see, first we generated a bunch of rooms, and did I copy everything? We need the style. We grabbed our style up here, so this is just style. So all the rooms will be the same style for the moment. Thanks, if you guys are still hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. We're gonna get this. And then I sort the rooms based on area. I believe that's because, yeah, we want to place the biggest ones first, and this should actually be moved into the API, but later, my friends, later. And so that's going to be generator dot, and actually this does 2, and this does 2. Rooms, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we place a bunch of rooms. It's just the thing I'm aware of here is that, you know, dumb syntax errors. Dumb syntax errors at this point are very expensive because we have to run the whole game every time. So we placed the rooms. So we added a bunch of rooms. They don't have places yet, so we placed the rooms. Oh, that's gonna move our starting room. That's a problem. So there's no facility for me to preset a room's location yet. So we'll just deal with that, okay? We might have to get a little creative. Maybe we won't sink the dungeon so deep. So let's just put it 4 meters down, so that oh, this is already subtracting, so that, okay, I would have really scratched my head about that. We're subtracting, so subtracting minus 40 would have been adding 40, which is backwards from what we want. Okay, so we placed the rooms, we generated the infill rooms. Oh, I need to min infill size. Be a stupid compiler error. Okay, so that's the maximum size of the, you know, when I generate rooms, you know, there's the major rooms that are generated and the little infill rooms that are just by nature smaller. And so actually this was a better view, wasn't it? Yeah, so these are the feature rooms. They can be larger, and these little infill rooms are, this is what controls their minimum of 2, maximum of 4, which again is 4 by 8. So that controls that. I could generate those rooms in a different style. Should we get fancy? Let's make a style 2. And instead of dirt, this one's going to be, what's the mudstone. So we'll change the style slightly of the dungeon in the infill rooms, which is kind of backwards from what you'd want. Yeah, so sorry. Let's switch these two guys. So we'll make this one be the style that we're used to, and these guys will have a different style, where it's just dirt floors. So make these style 2. We build the graph. Okay, so we build the graph. Then we fully connect them and we build the random. So this is where we build in the tunnels. So this randomly places the rooms in the space so that they don't overlap and they're relatively well distributed. We do the same things for the little infill rooms based on the space that's left, where we actually iterate over all the blank space and we decide randomly if a room should go there or not. Then we build the graph which connects all of these together to make sure that all of the primary rooms are basically there's at least one path that connects everybody together. And then, that's what the fully connected. The build the graph just basically creates a edge between every room and every other room. This one fully connects them so that's these stone tunnels here basically that connects every room at least once to the rest of the graph. And then the random cross connect is what generates these other, which are brown on this thing, that's just random cross links. So at that point we have tunnels. We don't. We know what we want to connect, but then we actually need to plot the tunnels. And we can give the tunnels their own style too, which is kind of cool. So let's give them style 2. So the tunnels will have the same style as the infill rooms, and not the feature rooms, which is kind of neat. So it's the plot tunnels. And then after that, I think the only thing left to do is insert it. Yep, and that's what we did. And so this is not doing the, for one thing, it's not inserting flames. Whoops, where we go? Yeah, that's where we are. Okay, so let's see what I've screwed up. Probably a ton of things. Let me just look while it's doing this compile thing. All right, let's see what dumb compile error I get when we actually try to run it. And this will be kind of funny because we've got all this dungeon garbage. Uh-oh. Okay, so at least it didn't wait for us to block type index. Oh, I missed a comma somewhere. Yep, in both of them. Why make a typo unless you're going to cut and paste it, right? I think I can try this again. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's got to copy the resources. Never mind. Okay, it was worth a try. But the build actually packages up those scripts, unfortunately. No live editing in this case, because it's on the server. There is a facility for that, but I'm not using it. That would have been worth checking into. Okay, so we've still got a problem. We've already got a variable name rooms. Okay, let's see. Let's call this starter room. Okay, so that way we don't have a conflict. All right, guys. Moment of truth. We'll see. I've probably screwed something else up. But at the end of this journey is being able to click on the ground, generate a dungeon, and then flip over to my build one, and we can go walk around and place lights and stuff as we walk around. I think I'll place bright lights. We made it farther. It compiled. Okay. All right, so we are underground. All right, so I've got my build one selected, so let's go somewhere over here. Let's pick a different dirt patch. Switch over to, I do have to fix that. Switch over to dungeon one and click right here. Uh-oh. No such property, Rand. Oh. Next in range. Oops. 0,2. Yep. And any other? Oh, okay. So let's try again. Here we go. One more time. Drum roll, please. What are we doing on the live stream at this point? 6 people. Half a dozen people interested in my dungeons. And then at some point I'm going to have to start making creatures to populate these dungeons. I might have to put spoiler alert on those videos in case people want to be surprised by it. Maybe I'll make that could be Patreon exclusive. I really need to improve my marketing. I think we're already equipped actually, so I don't need to do that. What are we doing down here? Far terrain is very busy. Okay. Oakster, drum roll, yeah. Okay, here we go. Click. Oh, it's doing something. Oh my goodness. Oh, my feet are in the... Okay, look, it's generating all that stuff. Yeah, I can't see. There we go. Look, it made a dungeon. Of course, it's intersecting our old thing that we got there. But so I should be able to flip over to my build wand. And there's my entrance over here. This is what was supposed to be the entrance. Alright, so let's flip over to the build wand. Hey. It appears to have worked so far. Okay, so let's flip over the build wand. And in order for you guys to have a better time, I'm going to use the magic white light. It's going to screw up the ambiance, so to speak, because really, if you were playing this live without the YouTube darkness, oh, nice. Okay, so why can't I... Why can't I click? Somebody's stuck. So anyway, because YouTube darkens everything, I'll use these bright lights instead. But it's not letting me click yet because all this garbage going on, I believe. So those terrain changes are still coming through as debugs. And the traces are coming through. Did I set that backwards? That's gonna take forever. Come on. Oh yeah, I set that backwards. Well, okay. We are not gonna wait for that garbage. We'll just restart. That'll be quicker. Yeah, my youngest is going to be in a musical next month. Bright Star, high school production, right? Bright Star is a musical written by Steve Martin, as it turns out. But there's one of the songs in there. When I think of the word quicker, it's like, I like hard liquor because it hits me quicker. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. End of stream. We got corruption in the world database. That is bad news. I think that's because I killed it. Oh man, I got in too much of a hurry. Alright. I hate to do this. A 1, 2, 3 world DB. I think we can keep the far terrain. Oh man, I really hate to do that. Okay, so that's going to wipe out all of our little sample dungeons that we've got so far. Going to have to generate it again. A lot of data there, eh? Crap. I got in too much of a hurry. Let's see if we can go a little further. So it'll take a little while longer, I think, to start up this time, maybe. Because it's got to generate the... Oh, it's pretty quick. Alright, so... let's try this again. Okay, so we need to go switch to our... Oh, what's going on here, eh? I think that this is because... Alright, I know why that is. It's because I left the far terrain. Let's go somewhere else. Let's generate a dungeon over here. And we're getting to be nighttime again. So let's find a new dirt patch to generate our dungeon. That's good, right here. New spot. Let's back time off a little bit. It's daytime again. Alright. Switch back over to this guy. Equip. And right click on our dirt patch. Alrighty. Generate the dungeon again. There's our entrance over there. Okay, so far so good. Oh, yeah, nice. Now, obviously, normally this would be generated underground, and that would just be sticking up, but we did this on purpose. Let's change over to light. The magic white. Select. Okay. All right. Hey, I get to click on things again. Let's light it up. Actually, let's light it up from the top so that there's at least one room that's got like maximum sunlight. Okay, okay. Whee! Check it out. We've got a dungeon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's go exploring. All right, see, it's so bright. Really kills the mood. Like it would be so even like at this level. It would be so much better to be using these, the lanterns at least. But they're, so like we could place lanterns around, but they're not very bright because they're meant to be sort of mood. And so like it starts to get too dark for you guys, I imagine. Because YouTube probably makes this too dark, and so it's usually better to go ahead and... I don't think it's going to let me select. Yep, won't. So I think so that you guys can see what I'm doing, it's probably better if I use the... but look, we've got a dungeon. And so this was an infill room because it's got the different style. And if we come up here, this is one of the feature rooms. So it's a big feature room. Big monster in here, I guess, or lots of loot or a bunch of crypts. Who knows, right? And so there's our starter room again. I can tell by the sunlight streaming through. Yeah, so this is kind of cool. It created like a star pattern off of the... Yeah, check it out. Oh, yeah. I'm going to lose so much time goofing around in these dungeons. So you guys thought Lantern Light was okay over YouTube? I just worry because I know the YouTube algorithm, the compression and stuff makes things super dark. Man, there's a lot of big rooms in this particular... check it out. So yeah, pretty cool. It's working. And we get to go explore a dungeon. And I don't have anything marking, you know, start room, end room, or any of that stuff, so. But see, it would be way more fun to have, like, actually I can't remove these lights. I think, actually, so let's see. Will it let me remove them? I know I'm out. Yeah, okay, so. See, it would be way, oh, that's not what I want. I want this. Okay, so if we go to the fire, flames, we'll do flames large, but yeah, scare, oops. Like have these corners blocked out, you know, for certain rooms. You know, flames set in the walls for certain types of dungeons. And then, yeah, so see, this is the kind of mood I really want in the dungeon, where it's kind of dark and you can, like, things can be hiding in the corners. There's a light bug there. Yeah, okay, reset the lighting, yeah. And so, you know, there's creepy things around every corner. So this is someplace we've already been. And so you don't know what's hiding in the corners here, or whether that sound you hear is just dripping, or it's a rat scurrying in the corner, or a skeleton coming out of its hiding place, or something to that effect. All right, guys, we did it, and it's not even 10:30. I'm pretty consistently running over a half hour these days, so not bad. So yeah, we've got another. This is a big room. Let's place some flames on the floor. See, this is like the right mood right here. Yeah, well, eventually, yeah, you're going to be able to hold a torch or a lantern and walk around with it, so it'll be dynamic lighting. I haven't added the dynamic object-based lighting, but that is definitely soon on the to-do list, because for wandering around a dungeon, you don't want to have your build wand in your hand just so you can place, you know, flames and torches or whatever everywhere. You want to be able to walk around and kind of see. But then it really will be, you know, off in the corner as you move in, something comes out of the shadow as you get closer, and suddenly you can see the creature there in the dark. Because it should, what I want to get to, I don't know if you guys played those old dungeon crawlers. Back then, you know, it was like step forward 10 paces, step forward 10 paces. You know, it was very kind of turn-based almost, but I kind of want that feel of claustrophobic darkness, where you know, you never know really sure around what's around the next corner and so on. That's what I'll be going for in the dungeons. You know, when you're down there, you kind of got to listen close and watch around. You know, look for shortcuts, because you don't want to go through that one area that's got all the mobs. And anyway, I think this is where I'll end it. Do you guys have any questions? I'll give it a beat for doing that. Yep, and I really hope you guys have a, you know, good week coming up. We'll probably continue more on this next week. I don't know what that'll be, whether it's, you know, random loot drops or something. I don't know. There's some kind of object markers to pretend to be loot, because obviously I don't have real loot yet. Or, you know, plotting out different styles. Oh, I bet we'll do second levels. So we'll drop down. So to do that, I need to make that we can mark rooms with an existing position to not be moved. So we'll deal with that. And other than that, that's it. Thanks, guys, for joining. I appreciate all my patrons again. You guys are the best. Everybody is the best. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you have any ideas, so for example, you know, I talked about the dungeon generation, but if you'd like me to do a dedicated video to how these dungeons are laid out, you know, sort of with graphic examples and maybe some background on some of the influences, you know, let me know, and I'll make just a short video on that or something. Just comment in the video. Comment and and with your ideas on things you'd like to see, things I should drill in on more detail from the game logic side. Not necessarily the coding side, but I'm glad to do those as well. But I know a lot of you that are watching are not coders, just Mythruna fans. Anyway, thanks for joining, and I will catch you guys next week.